I certainly got the feeling growing up that the expectation was if you see something that's wrong, don't just gripe about it. Go do something about it.
Before Weston Wamp announced he was running for Hamilton County mayor, many people knew his name for several reasons. Two of the big ones. He ran for Congress twice. He lost twice. He's also the son of former longtime Congressman Zach Wamp. I spoke with Weston recently, and I heard stories about both of those things that have shaped the man who is running for mayor today. This is August 2014. Weston Wamp has just lost his second attempt to go to Congress.
And they voted for a 27-year-old and his pretty wife, who frankly don't look or act anything like most people in American politics.
Describe that the next morning when you woke up.
That was probably one of the tougher days of my life.
You do? Talk to Mom about that.
I wouldn't go back and change things. I don't think there's any way that, had I been splitting my time 4 or 5 days in Washington, I don't think there's any way Shelby and I would have ended up with 4 beautiful, healthy kids.
You're looking at Wamp's first campaign video during this run for Hamilton County mayor, about 8 years after his last political campaign. He told me he writes all of his TV ads. He does not have professional paid political consultants. And during the campaign, you'll hear him talk about education, this amazing place we call home, his children, all reasons why he wants this job.
I want my kids to feel part of what we're doing, but really only the 5 and 7-year-old haven't grown up around politics. They're old enough that they'll have a few memories.
Weston did grow up around politics, but in our 44-minute conversation, I only asked him one question about his family growing up.
We saw the world of public service a little differently.
I also talked to Cody Wamp, Weston's sister, recently about growing up around politics. She's also running for office this year for Hamilton County DA.
I was raised in a home where my brother and I were told that we needed to figure out how we were going to have an impact.
And we did understand there was something a little different about our family growing up, because if we're walking through Northgate Mall and somebody stops with a question, my dad would stop and try to fix the problem.
Weston then told me this story about what became a controversial vote when his father was in office.
So they held the vote open to the wee hours of the morning. And my dad went to bed, remembers the whip team is what you call it, like on behalf of the White House, coming to his house at like 2 a.m., banging on the door, and my dad says he put the other pillow on top of his head and just went back to sleep, kind of just ignoring the political pressure.
There's a lesson in that story that has stuck with Weston Wamp ever since.
I thought, man, if you can do that and kind of live to fight another day in American politics, then there is a place for people to do what's right.
Latricia, identity, race, history, big topics often taken on in a high school or college classroom. But some educators are saying these conversations can't begin early enough in order to start building pride, confidence, and tolerance among our youngest learners.
Are you excited?
Yeah! Waving flags, wearing scarves, and showing other signs of African culture.
No one outside of their race should be able to tell them what their history is. They should know it.
At Serenity Childcare, these 3-, 4-, and 5-year-olds dressed up, danced.
It's kind of fun. Yeah.
And even presented on different icons in African American history.
To know that they have had ancestors that has fought for them.
Director Danita Strickland says discussing Black history from a young age helps empower her students.
It's just the little fundamentals that we've laid that foundation for them. That's it, and they can build on that foundation as they get older.
Charlotte Hubert with the Child Care Resource and Referral Network says children start noticing differences like skin tone as early as 6 months.
The early childhood years are the optimal years for development.
Charlotte says she grew up during segregation with very few positive parts of her culture reflected in the classroom.
There was very little representation of me and my family unit. So as I matured, I didn't have a very positive self-image.
That's part of why she says representation matters, and it's vital to be prepared to discuss race and identity early.
Not to shut down or shy away from, but we want to encourage curiosity and help children explore.
And in a time when what is taught in the classroom has never been more controversial, we asked Danita whether kids can appreciate these conversations so young.
I said, we don't teach them at this age. Some of them won't get it.
So now she's helping them build memories and pride.
They've had a legacy that's left behind for them. Now it's up to them as they grow older to have a legacy to leave for their kids.
And pass it along for generations to come.
development was approved long ago, but take a look at this. We finally have construction equipment here, but if you look behind me, you can see that way some of the traffic that's built up in this area, and it has some people calling on the state to improve the roads here on East Brainerd Road. This 32-acre wooded area soon turning into this new commercial development.
We filled roughly about a third of that shopping center, and we're negotiating with others.
The big get, Publix. It's something East Brainerd resident Ken Carter is thrilled to see coming into this space.
It's going to be necessary. I go to Cleveland to Publix now a lot because they have a better selection.
But Carter says he is worried about how the development will impact traffic, telling us he already uses back roads to avoid sitting at this red light at the intersection of Ooltewah Ringgold Road and East Brainerd.
I avoid school zones. I avoid things like that.
The developer says they've been gathering resident input since this land was rezoned for commercial development back in 2015.
It's just build and build and build, and so you've got all these new subdivisions that are going in, and that wasn't thought of back in 2015.
Appleton resident Renee McCutcheon says in just this last year, the community has exploded with new developments. And until this road is expanded, she says we will only see an already miserable traffic situation grow worse.
This public's going up pretty quick from what I understand. What are we going to do in the meantime? Just, I guess, sit in traffic.
Developer Basamisa says they've thought about this, spending $25,000 on a traffic study and adding an additional lane to alleviate traffic concerns until the state completes its road expansion.
I'm not going to do something that would make me suffer. I live 2 blocks from me.
TDOT says they're working on buying the land needed to widen the road, and the earliest construction could change this to 5 lanes is 2025.
But that needs to be now. That doesn't need to be 2025. That's 3 years from now.